still got something to tell you. Let me go ahead and tell you that as great as that was, and as wonderful as those things were, God told me to tell you, I still have a new thing. Excuse me, I know it's a thing, but every now and then I just want to say a new thing. God has a new thing for you. Come on. In 2013. I bet you just got me preaching and just lean over to the neighbor and say, God's got a new thing for you in 2013. A new thing that's bigger, a new thing that's better, a new thing that's greater, a new thing that's mightier than what you even saw him do in the past year. Not just in you, not just through you, not just for you, but around you. Look what Paul says. Now unto him who is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you can even ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. Now unto him who's able to do exceedingly and abundantly. And so here's what the text says. The text says in verse 18, remember ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old. You know what God is saying? He's saying, he said, if you continue to dwell on the old things God has done, you ain't going to be able to see the new things he got planned for. And the reason is because focusing on the past, as good and as great as it was, tends to blur our vision and our focus on today. And it may even undermine and undercut our future. Have I got a witness? In other words, it's hard to see in front of you when you're always looking back. You can't do it. You're weak. You got to go forward. One of the amazing things that man has done is he created a car. I thank God for a car. And in that car there is a windshield. Big windshield. And then slapped in the middle of that windshield is a real view mirror. That you can glance and see something going on on the outside. My question was, why is the windshield so big and the rear view mirror so small? And the answer comes, where I'm going is more important than where I've been. I need to leave my past behind me, regardless of how great and how good it's been. And God has something greater, mightier, better, more important in the future than I have experienced in the past. I've got a powerful experience of past blessings, but God said I got some more things I can do. He doesn't have to do it to me. He doesn't have to do it through me. He can do it around me. But he said I will do it, and it's about moving on to the present. Now here's what Paul says. That's what he was talking about in Philippians when he says, brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended. But this, he said, but this one thing I do, forgetting the things which are behind, reaching forth to the things which are before me. He said, I press toward the mark for the prize of a high calling. I press. Now, how many know that what's important in front of me is more important than what's behind me? And Paul says, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting the things. See, what happens is I need to gaze in the future and glance at the past. God ain't saying, don't look back. You got to look back in order to know where you've been. You can't go forward unless you know where you've been. But he doesn't want you gazing back there. He don't want you just looking back there like that's long. He don't want you looking longingly in the past. But he said, just glance back there and put your eyes on the future, your next step, your next year, your next opportunity. How thing, ladies and gentlemen, will transcend and surpass and supersede anything that's already been done. Now, if you think God did something last year, wow, you ain't ready for what he's getting ready. If you think he showed out last year, come on. You ain't ready for what he's getting ready to do in you and in those in your circle of fellowship. So that's what he's telling the children of Israel here in the 43rd chapter of Isaiah. He look at verse 18 again. He says, remember ye not the former things, and neither consider the things of old. Look at verse 19. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness. Have I got a witness? He said, I will do a new thing. Question, why? Why, pastor? Why, preacher? Is he doing a new thing? I'm glad you asked. Here's why. First of all, he does the new thing. He's doing a new thing in us to lift the expectation of his people. Yeah. That's the first thing you want. I hate. Because let me tell you what God does. Whenever God makes a promise, God makes a promise in order to lift our expectation. He will say it so that we will hear it and believe it and look forward to it, even though it hasn't even transpired yet. Whenever God makes a promise, he always does it to lift up our expectation so that we will always expect the great things from God and talk about his promises. And he's got 7,000 of them in the Word of God. And he has them for us so that we can read them, so that we can hear them, so that whatever we believe, we can lift our expectations and say, this is what God's going to do in my life. How do you know? He promised in his word that he's going to do it. He said, lo, I'm with you always. And whenever God promises, we have his word. It will come to pass. It will come to pass. He said it right here. He says, I will do. Now that's a promise. He said, I will do. He said, oh, remember not the former things. He says, I will do. That's rich. I will do. We got his word. When mama said I'm going to do, when mama said I'm going to whoop you, she said you can believe she's going to. You don't know when, you better watch your back. Right. God says, I will do. And that word in the original language, that word do, help me say do. That word in the original language, it means labor, means work. Here's what he's saying. God says, I will labor. Wow. I will work. Wow. What are you saying? God's saying, I will be working for you. I will be laboring on your behalf all year long so that you will I will fulfill my purpose in you. And whatever I want to happen in your life, you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to be laboring and working all year. God's going to be working for us. God promised he will work. I will do. I will work. I will labor. And the word of God has already said he's able to do exceedingly and abundantly what you need from God this year. There's some things that's on your horizon for you. There's some things you don't even expect to happen. They're going to happen because God is able. Can't nobody say I will do and it'll come to pass unless he's able. I might say I will do and something happen and I can't make it. But God ain't me. You know why? I can be saying, Pastor Brown, I'll be here at 8 o'clock. And if a train catches me, I can't get here at 8. I might have an accident on the highway. I can't make it. said, if he said it, I believe it. That's it. I'm able. Wow. I like what he said to Paul. He said, Paul said, being confident of this very thing. This is he who begun a good work, will perform it until the day of God. So maybe what he might be getting ready to do in 2013, he already started. In fact, isn't that what Isaiah said? He said, I will do a new thing. Wait a minute, it's springing forth. Do you not see it? Sometimes God is doing it and we don't see it. I wish I had some help here. And he's already working on it. He's already laboring in it. But we don't see it. Well, okay, here's the prayer. Open my eyes, God. So I might see it. God says, I'm going to be working on your behalf. God says, I'm going to be laboring in your vineyard. I'm going to be laboring with your family. I'm going to be laboring in your finances. I'm going to be laboring in your job situation. I'm going to be working in your situation. I'm going to work. He says, I am going to be building. I'm going to be rebuilding. I'm going to be creating. I'm going to be creating. I'm going to recreating. I'm going to be accomplishing. I'm going to be opening doors. I'm going to be closing some doors. So what he told me to tell you is to expect the great, expect the bigger, expect the better.